All right, so this week we had some warm weather here in Western Pennsylvania and we got the greenhouse sealed. So I'm standing inside of it. It got cold again. It's in the high 20s, but it feels more like cold, like very cold, like low 20s. It feels like that with the wind. But in here in the greenhouse, now that it's all sealed, all the windows are in, it feels relatively warm and we don't even have a heater in here yet. So here is the front side of the greenhouse. It faces west, no, it faces east. This is the door that we took out of our bedroom window. And then here, wait, out of our bedroom window. This is the door that we took out of our bedroom and we replaced it with a sliding door. So we kept our old door and just used it for the greenhouse. And then here, these are actually two separate windows. This is the south side of the greenhouse, so we have 3 windows spanning the whole width. And then all of our roof is made out of polycarbonate. At some point, I'm gonna finish painting up there, but the goal for winter time was essentially just getting it all done. And we'll tweak all of the aesthetic pieces here in a little bit. This is the west side. We have 2 large windows there, and at some point I have pieces of beautiful pieces of glass window that my husband would need to frame, but until then it's just going to be closed up. Here's the north side of the greenhouse. It doesn't let in as much light and you can't see out as much, but it is symmetrical. And over here we have polycarbonate that goes the whole way up. Then we have 2 small windows, and then right here, whenever we get heating in the greenhouse, we're gonna go ahead and that's where it's going to be located. So I'm not sure what type of heating we're gonna get yet, but that's where it's gonna go. So I'm pretty excited. I'm not going to be starting plants in here. One, we don't have heat, and with Pennsylvania winters, February, it goes up and down, so it's not gonna stay as warm as I need it for my seedlings in here, but I have started seedlings inside. So let's go ahead and take a look at what is growing. Cat-proof grow stand in its use. My cats haven't gotten the plants yet either. Here's the new grow stand too. It's not quite finished, but it will hold lights and plants on it at some point. I don't know how the cats are gonna go for the plants whenever they're on there, especially down here. But hey, it's finished. I mostly built it myself. The only thing my husband did was he added this on, and over here he added another screw because I clearly didn't do it. All right, so we're down in Sean's wood shop, and this is where I have been keeping all of my seedlings so far underneath grow lights. We do have a pellet stove down here to keep the basement a little bit warmer, and it also is right next to where my grow stand is at. So I'll admit, whenever I made this grow stand, it's in 2 parts. So this is just the bottom section itself, and then up here it's another section. You can watch my other video and read my blog post about how I built this top section. But down here, first time figuring out what I was doing, I messed up the hinge. So I expected my husband to fix it, and he hasn't, because he's like, I don't know. It's good. All we have to do is put something in front of it and it moves it out of the way. And using chicken wire around all of this wood, it does keep the cats out unless they can squeeze in. Sometimes we don't have a latch. We just have this chain that hooks onto the chicken wire and it keeps it shut. But sometimes before, if it would be open like that, the cat would sneak into that. So I had to turn the light off for a little bit just to give a clearer view. So we have yarrow here. I started this about like 3 weeks ago. It's gonna be needing some thinning out, but it's looking pretty healthy. In the back are some Madame Butterfly snapdragons, so some of my cut flowers. We have my geraniums, which this brand is from Burpee. I just got the seeds off of Amazon. Not exactly cheap, but a lot cheaper than buying how many geraniums when I need to interplant them with some of my crops in the garden. In the back, we have our delphiniums starting up. The Fantasia delphiniums are doing a lot better than the Magic foundations, but they're coming up. I started 18 onion plants, which at first I really wondered why my delphiniums were just a string. But oh yeah, I'm like, what is going on here? But yeah, those are my onions. So we're still on the bottom shelf here, and in the back I have some young spinach growing, and then up front here are my pansies. So I have two different varieties. I have Springtime, and then I have from Baker Creek Lake-a-thon. These ones turn out really pretty. It's just last year I didn't get them started early enough. So here in a strawberry container, I started to grow radishes from seed. So I haven't checked on what they look, but I do kind of put them into something else and thin them out a little bit more. Just to give some perspective here, I had to lay down on the floor to take all of this video footage for you. Oh yeah, so these snapdragons have taken forever to come up. I know, it kind of looks like there's nothing there. Maybe there's a bunch of snapdragons right there. They're coming up slowly but surely. Over here, these little carnations have started just a couple days ago, and they're looking really good. So I'm excited to get those planted later this season. Over here, we have our Sweet William dianthus. So they did good all germinating. The next thing I'm going to show you are my impatiens. Impatiens, I find, have been very hard for me to start from seeds because they like super warm soil. You're supposed to actually start them with moistened soil from hot water. You're supposed to put hot water into the soil versus just whatever temperature. I didn't, so I don't quite know how these are going to turn out, but I do have a few so far. So let's take a look at those. So they have a heating mat underneath them, as well as a humidity dome to keep the temperature higher and also keep the humidity there. Hey, we have one really close right here. So that is a tropical fizz. I have 4 varieties of impatiens. There's a lot more in the back that have germinated. So once I get more germination all throughout, then I'll go ahead and take off the humidity dome and just see how they do with the grow mat. If the impatiens are turning, their stalks are becoming very skinny and it seems like they're reaching up to the light a lot, it doesn't necessarily mean that the light is too far away for them, but I'll be turning off the heat mat if that is the case. Here on the top shelf, we have 2 things I just potted up last night. So it does take, usually about everything has taken about a week, maybe 2 weeks to germinate. But I did larkspur, rudbeckia, and buplorum. Wait, no, I didn't do larkspur. I did, that's all rudbeckia there. What did I do? Feverfew, buplorum and feverfew. The larkspur is in the refrigerator for 7 days because I forgot to do that last week. So I do have a whole tray of lizzianthus here. With Lizzies, I love the flower, but they are so hard to grow. They are so small right now, and it's been about like 2 weeks since I planted the seeds. So here's the story of what happened to my lizzianthus. And I shared this with one of the Facebook lizzianthus groups that I am in. I set a whole tray of my Voyage Blue and my Mariachi White, and I set it on a stool. Now that stool in my craft room is usually where my cats will go to sit to watch me sew, because that's where I put them when they try to then take the other stool, which is where I have to sit, or when they try to just get on the sewing table. So, or the craft table, which is planting all these lizzianthus seeds. And I put it there. 10 seconds later, my cat jumped up onto that stool, onto that tray and knocked it all over. So I'm just left with one tray of Lisianthus, which are the Arena Apricot. They're really a nice peach looking rose flower. So I grew them last year. I'm disappointed I can't try those new varieties, but I'm just gonna leave it for next year to try those other ones. Last year I always bought them watered, but this year I've been watering with my backpack sprayer. So it gives out a little fine mist, and you can adjust this to make it nice and fine. And with the pellet stove, it has dried out the tops of the soil to where algae hasn't been growing. And using that sprayer every day or every other day, it just adds right of water content, which I have always overwatered my seedlings before. So finding a system that actually is working for me, I absolutely love it. So thanks to the pellet stove and also the, whatchamacallit, the backpack sprayer, I can actually water these without giving them algae and without killing their roots either. So that is very good. I haven't done that much with what people usually think of when they think of homemaking, and that's like the cooking and the baking and the sewing. I haven't been down to my craft room ever since the Lisianthus disaster, but I have made the peanut butter pie this week. Then I made some sausage in the slow cookers. It's seed starting season. I do want to get some sewing in, but I gotta finish cleaning up after potting the Lisianthus seeds over there. So like, it's mainly cleaned up. There's just a little bit of dirt still on the table, so I don't want to get the fabric on that yet. But I have done something cool for the day after Valentine's Day, and I'm all about finding stuff clearance and using that. So let's take a look at what I made this week. Out of the cut flower season, it's just fun. It really is. I bought 3 bouquets, and 2 were on clearance from Valentine's Day because it was the day after, and then 1 was a full price fresh bouquet of pale yellow carnations, so I nabbed them up. So the bouquet, at least I knew it had some sort of smell with it, and adding that little bit of freshness. So thanks for coming along with me today to see all of the creative projects here that we accomplished on the Farmette in Bloom this week. So don't forget to like this video and subscribe so that you can see more of, I'd like to say weekly update tours, but we'll see how often I get to do this. So I'm hoping it's weekly, but it may be bi-weekly. So we'll see you later.